So I just seen this clip on ESPN and I'm disgusted by it. Look at this.
Yeah, and I gotta agree with both of you guys. I mean, I think it will be a really tough game. I really like the Grizzlies, like the YNs. They really come into play, right? Like they're gonna be excited. They're gonna be ready to go. But listen,
So that's Marcus Morris speaking about the Memphis Grizzlies, referred to them as YNs. Why do we allow our people to disrespect our men, our young men at that, by calling them YNs? And for those who don't know, YNs is an acronym for young. So why do we allow that? Why do we allow that? But get upset if, let's say, I don't know, Dan Orlovsky went on ESPN and referred to, I don't know, Justin Fields as a YN. Y'all have a heart attack, but y'all let this slide. He went on a national platform and called young black men young. We got to break away from that. So I just seen this clip on ESPN and I'm disgusted.
That's the
Look
point.
at this.
yeah, and I gotta agree with both of you guys. I mean,
Good morning.
Still going. All right. Okay. It's Monday. Good morning. Welcome to Let It Be Known News.
Good morning, Stacy. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. We're going to go jump into some headlines. A lot going on this morning. And of course, we're going to bring it to you from the Black perspective, which is what we love to do. YN, a new acronym for, I guess YT. So, YT stands for white people. So I guess they came up with YN. Very interesting. Very interesting topic. We have some breaking news. Pope Francis has passed away. And a lot of people are saying that JD Vance did it to him. That's not funny. But yeah, JD Vance visited him over the weekend, and the Vatican is reporting early this morning that Pope Francis has passed away, which means that all eyes will be on the Vatican to see who will become the next pope. So yeah, that's pretty sad news coming out. And on yesterday, yesterday was Easter, Resurrection Sunday. We hope everybody had a good Sunday. We're waiting for Stacy to work out a couple of technical difficulties. But Kamala Harris popped up out in her yellow Easter dress yesterday, and she showed up to Faithful Central Bible Church here in Inglewood, California. There she is right there, and she headed right over to Inglewood, California, and attended church at one of our mega churches here, formerly pastored by Bishop Kenneth C. Omer, and she attended church with her family. Looking gorgeous, looking refreshed, like she got some rest, and she's ready to pop back outside. And all eyes, of course, are on her because everybody wants to know if she will jump into the California governor's race. And speaking of California governor's races, the playing field is just growing. And so everybody wants to know what she's gonna do. And speaking of elections in Oakland, we had talked about it last week. Barbara Lee, she pulled off. She pulled it off, and now she is the mayor of elect for the city of Oakland. So congratulations to former Congress member Barbara Lee. And I think that's just another example of why elections do matter. Every vote counts, because last time we brought that story to you last week, at the time, remember, her opponent was leading her by less than 1,000 votes. I think that was on Wednesday. And then by Friday, she had jumped ahead, and she was able to take the win. And so over the weekend, she had tons of congratulations flooding social media, because as we know, we keep talking about it, that elections will turn out to be, and the power that people will be able to have will be in local elections. And so there it is right there. Barbara Lee wins Oakland, mayor's race in return as she returns to her home. And so, Greer, do we have a Black History fact for today? Drum roll. There it is. Pop quiz today, guys. Let us know who was the first Black U.S. Senator and which state sent him. So you got a clue. We know it's not a woman, it's a man. So who was the first Black U.S. Senator and which state sent him? So I guess usually Stacy is always in the chat. So I'm going to have to go on over here to the chat and see what's happening over there as we wait for Stacy to join us. I guess, like they say, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? Right. So I think we have him back. There he is. Yay, Stacy.
I just
There you are.
vacation. I figured I needed a vacation right away.
Yeah, so we just went through a couple of headlines. We talked about Kamala Harris going to church Sunday. We talked about Barbara Lee
Boy, what's she
clinching
doing?
the
Why is she
Oakland
in
race.
church?
Hey, maybe she's starting that campaign early. She might be running for governor. That's what we hear. And we broke the news that Pope Francis has passed away. And
It's
what
interesting
that looks
too.
like.
Yeah, what's interesting too, with the whole Pope Francis thing is that now some say that he really he was really killing the progressives in the Catholic Church, and his stand for the LGBTQ faction of Catholics and as well as Black. He was also um, believed to be instrumental in pushing for the Catholic Church to own up to their role, not only in slavery but Jim Crow as well. So
Mhm.
I thought that was really interesting. What else was interesting about that too? Most important to us, of course, or to Black people, I should say, is the whole. He was certainly pushing the church to recognize its crimes. When we saw several of the Catholic universities including Georgetown, start to admit their role and that they benefited. And in some cases, some of the schools offered free tuition as reparations to descendants of slaves. So that's the other thing. J.D. Vance was with him for a little while before he died, and I mentioned J.D. Vance only in this vein because a couple of months ago, J.D. Vance's official Twitter account, or X, or whatever you want to call that thing, had announced the Pope's death erroneously. So I guess JD did get to see him before he actually died.
Yeah, I talked about that. It's a lot of trending stories like JD did it. They're blaming JD did it. But when I saw the clip of him visiting JD Vance visiting the Pope, and the Pope looked sick. He didn't even really look like he knew what was going on.
Mm. Well, he had been
So he
hospitalized
did
for a
look
while.
fragile. Yeah, he looked very fragile. And so it's just sad. I mean, I'm I, I like this Pope. It's like
Really?
a lot of them you really don't pay attention. But there was something about him that he didn't go with the traditions of the Catholic Church. He kind of was like you say, he was a more progressive, in my opinion, a more forward thinking and progressive Pope. And so it'll be interesting to see which direction that the Catholic Church decides to go in now. Will they revert back to their ways, or will they continue this progressive turn, or just evolving with the times?
Yeah, and it's so interesting when they, some might recall when they do pick a pope, the white smoke ascends from the Vatican to signal that they picked a pope. I always thought that
Mhm.
was kind of funny, to say the least.
That's
Not
always
to
an
make fun of
interesting
anybody's tradition.
process. No, I like. I think it's a very interesting process because you're going to begin to see hundreds, and it'll probably get to thousands of people standing in that area waiting to see, when to pick a new pope. And I
Mhm.
mean, it's a really big deal within the Catholic community, and all eyes will be on the Vatican. And of course, people will start going there now to pay their respects to Pope Francis.
And of course, the speculation will begin again as it did when he was picked and when his predecessor was picked. Will this be the first time that they elect a black pope? We will see. Does it matter?
You know, my odds are not on that. My odds are not on that. But I'm pretty sure that there'll be one name, a black name tossed around, but I don't see that happening when
No, not when they got
anytime
it.
soon.
Not when they
I
refer
could
to
be
him as the
wrong.
Holy
I could be
Father.
wrong.
Not when they
I
got to
could be
refer to him as the
wrong.
Holy Father. They're not referring to
Yeah.
a black man as the Holy Father. It's not happening.
Uh yeah. I don't know if you've ever watched the series The Borgias. Uh
No.
the Borgias Borgias was a pope, and they were treacherous. They were a treacherous family. And they also say that the photo of Jesus is really the image of Cesare Borgias.
You know, the one photo of Jesus that always stands out in my mind when you talk about when you talk about photos of Jesus, whether it's fictional or not, is on Good Times. The black Jesus.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were. And you know what? Florida was not having. I mean, that right there, Florida was not having it. She was not having a black Jesus. She just wasn't. She wasn't into that. She was not feeling it.
they
And a
was
lot
they
of,
was they had a good run of good fortune when they had the black Jesus up. Somebody
and a
said the
lot of black
lips.
people, it was like, oh, this is amazing. But Florida, she was like, damn, damn, damn. No black
Florida got on
Jesus
my
in this
nerves
house.
sometimes.
That is blasphemy.
Florida got on my nerves sometimes.
Yeah, Florida didn't want to leave the ghetto. She didn't want to leave the ghetto, and
Yeah,
she didn't want to change.
yeah.
Some
Poor
people say
James.
James didn't really die. James didn't really die. He just left because he couldn't take it no more.
He couldn't take it. He went to Mississippi. Remember, the storyline was he was in Mississippi and got this big truck driving job, and James was, I'm out. He went and got there. It is. That's terrible.
I mean,
It
we needed to see
looked like
that.
Ned DeWino. That's what it
Yeah,
looked like. And
Norman
somebody said
Lear.
that on the show, right?
Oh gosh. But Norman Lear was ahead of his time, and thank God for him because he really allowed black people to be seen on all levels, from George Jefferson, to moving on up to the ghetto, and just really dealt with issues that we were facing at the time.
Well,
So much respect to Norman Lear. That's what you call a white ally.
yeah. Well, let's not forget too that he had a lot of. He did listen. Like a lot of these directors and stuff, they didn't listen. He listened.
Yeah,
So,
he was
your
definitely
girl
ahead of
did
his
it.
time.
Your home girl did it down in Oakland.
Oh yeah, we talked about that while you were MIA. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked about Barbara Lee
I wanted
taking the
to
Oakland
see I
spot.
wanted to see your smile.
Oh yeah, over the weekend, everybody was posting their pictures with Barbara Lee. I was one of them. Yeah, she did it. I mean, I just think I was saying, while you were missing, uh, that's
Was
why
kidnapped.
every vote counts. Every vote
Barbara Lee.
counts. Because on
Wow.
Wednesday she was losing,
I'm
and
just
by
surprised it was that
Friday,
close.
but after by Friday and by when all the other ballots were counted, she did take a substantial lead. It
Okay.
was just that all the ballots were the mail-in ballots, the absentee ballots, maybe some of those provisional ballots, but all of those numbers swelled for her, and so she pulled it off.
Okay.
Another black mayor. We just left the mayor's conference. We got another one to add to the to next year. Barbara Lee.
Well, check this out. And the Trump administration argued before the Supreme Court that they have the right to arrest any person, U.S. citizen or not, for any reason and send them to El Salvador's max prison or anywhere without due process, and that judges and lower courts have no jurisdiction to stop them. And they have and let me just say this, that Talbot Swan had posted it on his social media account, and he said, let that sink in. And he's right, let that sink in.
Hmm.
Because this is their thing, and they have ignored court orders. Now, I found it interesting that they had a busload of people they were deporting when the Supreme Court came down against them, and the bus did a U-turn. It was really interesting. They had it almost in at least social media had it almost in real time. So they want to. Supreme Court said they cannot, at least temporarily, they put a block to using the Alien Enemies Act. So we will see. And at the same time, Neil, a large number, larger than usual number of people gathered outside the White House on Saturday to protest the Trump agenda. And again, yes, indeed, there wasn't people there. They were, as you say, resting. But they filled up
Yeah.
the park there and all the area there in front of the White House, and it spilled out into what was formerly known and should still be known as Black Lives Matter Plaza.
Yeah. Yeah, I just say keep it up. Great job, folks. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Well,
You know, we're
it's
doing
got to be,
keep it up.
yeah, it's got the if you want something done, they're gonna have to keep the pressure on, and it's just like the whole Target and Pepsi and all that stuff. So like it's just with Sharpton meeting with them, and Sharpton defended himself yesterday again. I just found a lot of things that Al Sharpton said and defended himself yesterday very, very intriguing. Um,
What
including,
did he say? I
yeah,
didn't see it.
eh,
I tuned him
yeah,
out.
yeah, he he talked about the criticism he got. He touched on that, but he says that here's the very, very, to me, the most intriguing thing he said was that they talked about him putting this picture out, which they did, this picture of Sharpton, the two Nan folks that was there, and the CEO of Target. And he said he didn't want the media to know about the meeting. And so he decided, this is what he said. Listen to what he
I'm
said.
listening.
He didn't want it out in the press. So instead, he puts it out in his own words, quote, to my 2 million followers on Instagram. Reconcile that for me, if you will. I don't want it out, but I got 2 million followers on Instagram, and I'm putting it out there to them as if the media is not going to see this.
Well, did he address the elephant in the room? Him saying Jamal Bryant was there.
He did not.
There's no
Did not.
picture or
There's
documentation.
no right. There's no picture, no documentation. Um, but I don't know. I'm just gonna. I'm not gonna say Jamal Bryant was not there. I'm not ready to say he was not there. I think Jamal Bryant's own
Well,
comments were very ambiguous in themselves. So he left it up to interpretation. As Bryant left it up to interpretation as whether he was there or not.
right, because he still hasn't confirmed or denied. I mean, this whole situation is
It's
odd.
weird. Yeah, and Sharpton, here's the thing, and look, I in the text chain, I suggested to Dr. Chavis, not that he needs my suggestions, but he and somebody like a Danny Bakewell and a Bob Bogle should be the ones leading the Black Press's effort with Target. They should be meeting with Target. I just believe that Sharpton made a comment about Black media. Um, and he didn't say, he may have meant it. I'm gonna give, you can give him the benefit of the doubt, but he said, Black media. Now, he could mean a lot of things. People could mean a lot of things when they say Black media, Black targeted media, right? A couple of more popular individuals instead of the 250 plus Black owned newspapers, because that's a distinguishing thing. I
Right.
didn't hear Sharpton say Black owned media. I heard him say Black media. That's concerning to me, because if you and Sharpton may very well mean Black owned media when he's talking to these folks on the other side, white folks. Are they interpreted it as Black owned?
Well, that's the problem. He doesn't have he doesn't have other people to represent those entities sitting at the table. And so you can't be the end all for black folks if you really are pushing for, DEI, fairness and equity for everybody. Then you need to have a coalition sitting at the table, to have the black press. I mean, you're a reverend, but you don't represent the black church. You know what I mean? Does
Mhm.
Reverend Al Sharpton have a church?
That's a good question. I don't know, but somebody in the chat is saying that Jamal Bryant said he did speak about this on at his church yesterday, and so during Sunday service, Easter Sunday service, he said he was there. I just find it odd, and I don't know.
Where's the picture? Where's the
Right.
picture,
I don't
Stacey?
know
Where's the
Jamal
picture?
Bryant like that. He was, he's a great guy to talk to. We had him on the show, great interview. And I don't,
Where's the
I
proof?
right. I need, I just like Senator Van Hollen went over to El Salvador and sat with that immigrant. I need that type of proof of life.
Right, right. And so we know that Jamal Bryant is very active on social media, and that he has not wanted to shy away from posting things that he's working on or things that he's advocating on. So where is the picture? I'm sure that if Jamal Bryant met with the CEO of Target and he is the face of a campaign, where is the picture?
And 100% Jamal Bryant is the face of that campaign with Target. The black press has its selective buying consumer education selective buying program. NAACP also has it as well, but Jamal Bryant has been at the forefront of this. And so it
Yeah,
seems
and
to me
yeah.
that the photo, if somebody was left out of the photo, it should not have been Jamal Bryant. Now, he did indicate again that he didn't necessarily want a photo out, but I just
Mm.
find it incredulous that we don't see any pictures. Jamal Bryant hasn't really talked about it. Somebody said he mentioned that he was there, but there were messages exchanged early on that indicated that Bryant didn't even know about the meeting.
Right.
So,
That was the day before the meeting. So
right. And so I don't know.
yeah.
But the most important thing is,
Well,
regardless
let's
of,
just say, let's just say this story right here, there's another layer that we're going to get into later this week, maybe even soon as tomorrow. There's another layer to this story that
According to
is
Bryant,
going to shock you. But I think Greer has a clip she wants to play, or maybe not.
well, um, again, the most important thing though, and
continue
I
at
don't want to lose.
boycott
Okay,
after
there we go.
slash diversity programs, and according to Bryant, refused to fulfill most of his demands.
To look at the person beside you and tell them we ain't going in there. We ain't going.
Bryant says he met with Target executives and only one demand was met.
Target has agreed that by July the 31st, they will complete the pledge of $2 billion for black business.
The full list of demands also included restoring DEI efforts, depositing $250 million into black banks, and new partnerships with HBCUs.
I think that what we're asking for is reasonable. Of those four, and 1 out of 4 is not sufficient.
Bryant says the fast combined with the pre-existing grassroots boycott hurt Target's bottom line. The company's stock price down nearly $44 per share from the end of January, when the retailer first announced it was ending DEI efforts. Yeah! The boycott also gave rise to the bullseye black market.
See, here's the thing. I'm gonna say this right now, and folks are not gonna like it. If this is why he met, they said they agreed to meet this one demand. If it does not include the black press, then I'm shopping at Target. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to encourage people to shop at Target. I'm not going to discourage them, put it that way. Listen, we've come too far. The black press has been the engine that made this thing go for 198 years. The black press has been the engine that made us go through the Jim Crow, Reconstruction, civil rights, and for so-called civil rights activists to leave out the black press, then we need to do our own thing, and we need to. And it's not time. We talk so often about this. It is not time to go at it alone. But if they're forcing your hand, then you have nothing else to do. A hit dog will have to holler. I'm
Yeah.
telling you right
Well,
now.
I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna stay with the fast because it's bigger than
And it's not
Jamal
bigger than the black
Bryant.
press to me.
It's bigger. Well, I mean, it really is. It's deeper than that. And it stems from uh the pledge that was committed. It stems from the murder of George Floyd. And so I'm gonna stick with the fact. I mean, I never planned on stopping after the 40-day fast anyway.
I'm not going to
But like I
encourage
said, I
people.
think this story is a lot deeper than just Jamal Bryant. I did a little digging over the weekend. It's a lot bigger than Jamal Bryant. It's a little bigger than Al Sharpton. And so we'll be unfolding that later on this week in the show.
Yeah, I just can't. I can't subscribe if they are still throwing us under the bus. I just can't. I really can't. It just, this is where you fracture the community, right? Because you leave out, and it's not that. Let's not get it twisted. Our interest, the black press's interest, is not a minute thing here. It's the
Mhm.
interest of all of us to be able to get news and information that affects us that you're not going to get in the New York Times. You're not going to get on black targeted media either. And so, if you're throwing us under the bus, whether it's Al Sharpton, whether it's Jamal Bryant, not saying that they are, I'm saying no matter who you are, then it's, hey, you're on your own. That's from my point of view. I'm not speaking for Ben Chavis or Bobby Henry or the board or the black press as a whole, but that's how I feel about it.
Okay.
So, what you got for us, quickie wise?
Well, let's do it. Do we have a teaser for our Black History quiz question? Greer, you want to throw it back up? Do we have any guesses in the chat?
What's the question? There you go.
Who was the first Black U.S. Senator and which state sent him? So we already got a clue this time with the question. We know it's a man, we know it's male. So who was the first Black senator and which state was he from?
Hmm. Right. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank right now.
All right.
And I
Well, while
should
you
know
drawing,
this. I should
well,
know this, but I'm
it,
drawing a blank.
hey, what's the chat saying?
Yeah, I'm looking for somebody
Are
to
they?
give me some ideas in the chat. Okay, there's one from ONG, Hiram Revels, Mississippi.
Hmm. Yeah, that sounds about right. I remember that name. I remember.
Any other guesses? Let us have them, because I am lost.
I think I'm with him. I think it's Hiram. I
Okay,
think it's Hiram. But
all
we'll
right.
see. We'll see. All right. So let's jump into some more headlines that happened over the weekend. Of course, we've been talking about the blockbuster Sinners, and of course, it turned out to be a blockbuster, making 45 million over the weekend. But that's not what everybody's talking about, Stacey. Everybody's now talking about the deal, this
Oh,
boss deal that Ryan Coogler made that has Hollywood freaking out
oh
now. Um,
yes.
so there were three things that he lobbied, advocated for that he got, which is unprecedented in movie deals. The first one is he retained final cut, meaning that the movie theaters could not change the ending, the middle, or whatever. He retained the final cut. And then he also was able to get first dollar gross, meaning that traditionally the movie company recoups their money for the film before the maker of the film is able to get some residuals back from it. Well, he was able to get some money, I don't know what the percentage is, but he was able to get a percentage of every ticket from the first day it dropped in the theaters on Friday. So that's huge. So he made money
That
over
is
the
huge.
weekend, didn't have to wait. He retained final cut. But what most people are looking at is that after 25 years, he retains the rights to the movie. And that's
Wait,
never heard of. White,
right,
black, yellow, brown. The movie always stays with the
right.
movie company. But after 25 years, Ryan Coogler receives all rights back to this brilliant film called Sinners. And so kudos to him, not just for making a brilliant film, but for him and his team being brilliant business people and getting
Yeah,
this type of deal.
it's another of a long line of lessons for the music industry, for artists in the music industry. Own your
And
masters.
for the movie, yeah, on your masters, and even for the for the movie industry, like the Ava
Eh,
DuVernays, the Issa Raes, you know, this is an unprecedented deal that this black man was able to nail down, and kudos to him.
yeah,
Yes.
Inferno 932 says black excellence.
For sure. For sure. And if you haven't seen Sinners, make sure you go see it, and make sure you see it in IMAX so that you can get the full experience of this brilliant film.
Mm.
All
What else
right.
you got?
So speaking of films, Ava DuVernay is set to receive an honorary doctorate from Morehouse College.
Oh,
And so this is very interesting. The All Male College is going to present Miss DuVernay with a doctorate degree, which she's well deserving. And to get it from an all black male institution is pretty cool. So
yeah.
congratulations to Ava DuVernay. Um, and speaking of HBC headlines, BET is launching a new docu series featuring Michael Vick as head coach of Norfolk State University. And so they're going to follow him around. And this is such a great redemption story for him because after that dog debacle, people had written this black man off. And he has been able to rebrand and reestablish his career in a major way. And I mean, no better way to sew back into young black men at HBCU. So congratulations to him. And we should be interested to see what this docu-series is all about. Picking up where Dion left off. And then heading over to Cincinnati. Cincinnati honors Cat Williams with a street dedicated to him. And so now, not only has he followed the suit of Tyler Perry with buying a big, huge lot to build a film studio, now he's being honored by his hometown with a street dedicated to him.
Going back briefly to the doctorate, honorary doctorate there, Greer says Nicole Hannah Jones received one from Morehouse the same year that her son graduated. So there's some more history there.
Yeah. So they do
Awesome
have,
stuff.
yeah, that's pretty dope. Nicole
Yeah.
Hannah Jones, another one that rightfully deserves it as well.
Yeah. And look at Cat
Um,
Williams. Cat getting his due.
yeah, yeah.
That's nice.
He's helped so many comedians by taking them on the road with him and opening up for him. And so, I mean, there's a lot of people I know that he is debatably liked by a lot of comedians, but a lot of individuals in the comedy game love Cat Williams because he definitely looks out and helps. And then finally, just so all of you guys know, because we know the FDA, the CDC, and Trump Plan administration is not giving us the goods. The FDA reportedly didn't publicize that a deadly E. coli outbreak hit 15 states. And so, we saw before that, I think it was Coca-Cola or Pepsi, they took the leadership to let know. And a couple of other Lay's potato chips did the same thing. But this is like where, going back to the Trump administration and how, they're removing all of these things at the detriment of American people. And this is just a prime example of us not knowing what's going on with our produce, with our food, and them not giving a damn.
Just bottom line, right?
Yeah, they don't give a damn.
Wow. Yeah, we in trouble,
And though,
folks.
yeah. All right, let's go to the black card.
Oh gosh. So we're pulling the black card. Got to do it. Rob Smith, who's a self-styled political analyst, he went on this rant on social media about Carmelo Anthony, the young boy who was accused of murder or stabbing or whatever
Mm-hmm.
happened at that school, and
Mm-hmm.
he's out on bail now. But he went on this rant, not just about Carmelo, um, but the kids of celebrities, black celebrities. He says that, and apparently we don't. Yeah, I didn't pull the clip. I should have pulled the clip here. But he says if Carmelo, oh, there he is. Greer has it. So let's just
He
listen
likes to
to
walk
why.
around New York with no shirt on.
Up at the press conference for the attorney representing Carmelo Anthony, and the attorney called him disrespectful.
Don't quote anybody. Is a disrespect to the dignity of his son. Next Generation Action Network from the beginning has respected the loss of life. No matter our opinion of it, we have kept our opinion close. We have not attacked. We have not shared the information that was shared with us about Austin Metcalf because we respect the dignity of life.
Okay, so first of all, what you have to understand right here is that this he's a new grifter, right? Like this dude, he's not versed in the grift. All right. Now, if this was Jesse Jackson or Al Sharpton, it would be a whole production. And do you notice I've never heard of this good family and his family had money and whatever? What does that say about the culture that he came from a good family in a good home and still did what he did, was still running around like a hood rat, was still running around like a thug, was still running around like a criminal? Look at the children of these Hollywood celebrities. Look at T.I.'s kids. So those kids have been born and raised money. Those kids have been born and raised in money their entire lives. They have known nothing but money, but yet still his son runs around like a thug and a hood rat. I believe that his son was in and out of jail. So what does it say about the culture when even if we do raise children in wealth, when we do raise children in two-family households, when we do raise children in gated communities, and all of these things that Carmelo Anthony apparently had, they still end up running around carrying a knife. They still end up running around interacting in thug and hood culture. They still run around trying to act like they're about that life when they haven't even been raised in that life. And that life is foreign to them. What does that say about the culture? What it tells me about the culture is that the culture is rotten. So it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter if you have a two-parent home. It doesn't matter if you have all that money. If you are still engaging in that ratchet, degenerate, toxic culture, that is who you are going to end up being.
And I wonder how was he raised? Because obviously there was a lot of dropping on the head.
A lot of these MAGA lovers, it's a way for them to be seen. And so there's a space that they can feel that allows them to get larger attention because they're on the opposite side. And Rob, especially during the campaign, I mean, he would be walking around New York with no shirt on. He would be doing these rants about, it would trend because he was talking different. And I mean, I think that's a good selection, not just for that video, but just his whole premise on social media.
But to show you, and Greer, I'm glad she reminded me of this because this is one of the reasons why it struck me. Now, Carmelo Anthony, this young man, spells his name with a K. Carmelo Anthony, the NBA Hall of Famer, spells his name with a C.
this guy, Rob, erroneously thought while making this video that Carmelo with the K was the son, Carmelo with the C.
Yeah. Carmelo Anthony's son name is Kai. It's not Carmelo. And he
Right,
goes to Syracuse.
right,
He pledged to Syracuse. He'll be going to Syracuse in the
right,
fall.
right. It just shows you what a fraud this guy is, and how disgusting his whole take is. So this guy, he's one of those guys that you take pleasure in removing whatever black card he had left and never considering him again. It's like he's past the abyss, so he's done. He's done. He's absolutely done. And so we go on to a black fact. And I only chose one, although we could have chosen others, because I think it's important that this moment belongs
Okay.
to one person and one person only. It is the day that the music died forever. On this date in 2016, the one and only Prince Rogers Nelson died in an elevator in his home at Paisley Park outside of Minneapolis. He was 57 years old, and concerts for me has never been the same. This guy, if you've ever been to a Prince concert, it is an experience that I imagine that Beyonce fans feel, perhaps Taylor Swift fans feel, but this guy works it. He puts on a show of shows, and then after that, he's not done. He goes and does an after party and show all night long. I went to a Prince show, a show that it was a private show. In fact, Beyonce and Jay-Z were there. Alicia Keys was there. You name it, they were there. Back in 2001, it was at a place called Club Black in New York. And I don't think Club Black was the original name. I think it was only, I think Prince renamed it just for that night. If I could be mistaken, but I think that was the case. But it was you got these secret invitations, and the night that he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I got an invite, and Prince took the stage at 2:30 a.m. Prince left the stage at 6:30 a.m. Never stopping during the show to change, to rest, or anything else. It was one of the most amazing things I have seen from an artist. He was just one of a kind. One of a kind. They're having a day of remembrance in Minneapolis, opening up Paisley Park today, all day, and live streaming a candlelight at 4:21 p.m. this afternoon. 4:21 p.m. of course is the time of death. On April 21st, actually, but 4:21. Wait, was it 4:21? But April 4:21. Let me get it straight. 4:21 is the date. I'm not sure of the time of death though, and that was me, not Joni, saying that. But nonetheless, I tell you what, Neil, this guy knew how to electrify a crowd.
Yeah, I've seen Prince in concert before too. He's a great performer. I mean, he's an icon, and what made him so unique was that he played multiple instruments. So he was an artist and a musician, which is something rarely you see. You could probably name on your finger how many artists today can sing and play an instrument. I remember one time he told Beyonce, "Baby, you need to play an instrument." And I think that's where her whole concept of my voice is my instrument came from.
Well, so I think he also, and he probably told her that for several reasons, including the fact that she's already accomplished and great, just so that nobody can have anything on her. And with him, it's
Well, I mean,
about
Diana Ross doesn't play an instrument. There are a lot of
no,
great
right, and
artists
that's
that
probably
don't
the
play
point. That's
instruments.
probably the point.
Yeah.
Continue to separate yourself from the pack is probably the point. Because could you imagine Beyonce playing instruments the way
I
that
don't think
she
she needs
performs?
to. I don't
No,
think she needs
I
to.
don't think that's the point though. I don't think that's the point. She doesn't need to. But can you imagine if she played instruments like she performed, like she sang? I mean, it's just what she would accomplish, nobody else could probably accomplish. It's like him. Not only did he play, but he was among the best. We will always remember his While My Guitar Weeps performance with all of those big time guitarists at the Rock Hall of Fame. And he was the one that, despite all of them being there, the one that they still to this day talk about that performance. He just was unbelievable. In his concerts, you see him sit behind the piano, you see him pick up the drums, the drumsticks, you see him on the guitar for us. And he also did that in the studio. Everything was arranged and played by Prince. And
Right.
that's
Yeah.
what
And his,
separated him.
I mean, yeah, I mean, hey, I mean, I think another person that is right now that you can compare to that type of artist is her. Her not only sings, she plays multiple instruments. And she's brilliant at that. Alicia Keys, plays the piano as well as
Mhm.
sings. So there are artists that do that. But Prince was special. He was rare. And I know his after party Oscar parties were legendary. Um, those parties would go to the wee hours of the morning. And once again, that's something that I think the Carters picked up because now, Prince is gone and they do their gold party every year. It's invitation only, no pictures taken. It's just a way for artists. And so, yeah, he was a trendsetter. He set a lot of precedents in, entertainment and fun. That everybody wasn't invited to, but when you got that Prince invitation, it was gonna be off the hook.
Yeah, it was amazing. I saw him during almost all of his tours since I was old enough to see him, and that guy was absolutely incredible. Oren G says that he always tells people if you didn't see James Brown, Michael Jackson, and Prince live in concert, you cheated yourself.
Mhm.
And yeah, I can't disagree with that. Uh, those guys knew how to entertain a crowd, and so Prince Rogers Nelson. I got a chance to talk to Jerome a couple of years ago, Benton, on one of the anniversaries of Prince's death, and then another time I got a chance to talk to his Revolution guitarist Brown Mark. And the one thing was always consistent was that they kept saying how while they would tour with one album, he had already had two more in the can, looking forward to the next. So Prince is certainly missed. Our black owned newspaper today. Are we ready for that? The Windy City Word. The Windy City Word is a weekly newspaper that projects a positive image of the community that it serves. It reflects life on the Greater West Side as seen by the people who live and work there. We're talking about the Windy City Word in Illinois. Check out their website.
Yeah. And it's Monday, so we don't know what the week is going to bring, but whatever it is, you can find it at blackpressusa.com.
Whatever it brings. I'm looking forward to more of this Target stuff, that's for sure. Let's see where
it shakes out.
Mhm.
That's for sure. So anyway, it's been real on this Monday, this ratchet Monday that I couldn't get it together, that's for sure. I got all these new screens and stuff going on too, so it was like, boy, oh boy. But we got a pop quiz to answer too before we get out of here. There it is. The first black U.S. senator. I guess Orange, you got it right off the bat, and Neil, you went right with it.
I did, yeah. I remember that. You don't remember till you hear it.
In a lot of cases, right?
And he was also in the museum. He was in the museum. I remember seeing that last week.
That's another thing that wow. We got to talk more about that that museum experience in the days to come as
Well, I
well.
think we're going to have some clips coming out this week on social media. So be sure to
Okay.
follow us on all social platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you'll see our experience at the Smithsonian African American Museum of History and Culture.
Right. We'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.